Hello, everybody. I'm either going to attempt not to act strangely. If I have to act, if that's the only way I can express myself. I was thinking about it. If I can't not act, then at least try to act naturally, and I'm not very good at it. I always come off as really, really rough from my opinion and observations. I'm like, something not quite right about this guy. When I watch myself. But maybe it's just because I know I'm being recorded. Maybe. See, just right there, I tried too hard. My videos always start out this way, though. I'm not used to looking at myself very deeply. I don't like doing it. And who wants to focus on themselves anyway? I'm me. I kind of know what it's like to be me. I don't really need to focus on it, and stuff like that. But that was my introduction. Thanks. How retarded was that? I actually have something very important to talk about, and it's not about me. And I'm sorry my brain doesn't work right, but I have been I listen. I pay attention to a lot of things, and I listen to a lot of things and a lot of people, and looking back, I gotta say I've come to some understanding of some things which may be important. There are a lot of important things, but this may be important to everyone. I don't even know how to go about saying what I'm gonna say without just saying it, I guess. Going with the flow. I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna try to impress you with some understanding before I go into what potentially could be very important. I can see how to see, if you understand that zero is the point at which the three dimensions of this reality intersect, then you can understand multidimensional. You can understand how you can see beyond, mentally and visually in your head, how to see what it would take to see beyond the third dimension, okay? Based on zero, because zero is a point, right? Okay, you divide zero. You've created relativity, right? Because it can relate to itself, and that there's something for the other to relate to from the point of view of each division. You've created one dimension, two opposing directions, which is caused by dividing zero. One time, you create one dimension. You cut it again. Okay, and then you've created not only two dimensions, but, let's see, 1, 2, 3. I'm having trouble, I have trouble with simple things sometimes, and maybe I'm autistic, like the doctor says. Let's see, you would have 1, 2, you you would have created 2 dimensions which would be which would also create 2 halves, which would also create it, you've got a plane, right, made up of 2 dimensions, and either side of those that plane, is another dimension. Okay. This is a new way of understanding it as I'm trying to explain what I previously understood about it. It's a new way of saying it. And, but 0 creates all dimensions by dividing it. But you always have to divide it at a certain point. See, which is relative to all the other relative opposites. The midpoint between all relative opposites. You have to create the division in order to create another dimension within a 3D space, I guess, or from 0. So, okay, you got 1 dimension, you got 2 dimensions, which creates 2-dimensional. Then you add a 3rd dimension. The next step, I imagine, because then you create 8 intersecting at 0, you create 8 4-sided triangles, or divisions. You create 8 triangles from the point of 0 going out, all equally at the same time, from the equal points at which all things are expanding. You create a triangle between, that point up there above, which would be positive Z, this point, which is facing at you, and the left and right points. You've created 2 triangles, right? And those 2 triangles contain, it's like, I don't know what those 4-sided dice, that you see that are 4 triangles that make up a 4-sided shape, like a 4-sided die, but you create 8 of those, all intersecting at 1.0, which share axes with other, share axes with other opposing directions of those dimensions, right? I'm trying to paint a visual, verbal picture here, I guess, is what I'm trying to do, and I plan, because I have some artistic ability, I want to record me drawing diagrams or explanations as I try to explain them on my computer, because I have a graphics tablet, and this is all very fascinating to me, at least, that from the 0 point you can create so many dimensions, but it has to be a certain way of doing it in order for it to be. There's a certain way of going about it, to create dimensions based on the previous dimension, and I think all dimensions all are potentially different realities, or within reality, and I think they're all even. Well, all even dimensions can be made odd by adding an observer, a new objective viewpoint of that dimension, which is usually even, I guess, because based on like zero's position, which is zero is also negative zero in that it's divided and opposing each other. They're the exact opposite. They kind of negate each other, you know, because it's divided. No matter how many times you divide it, it's still zero, you know, dimensionally. But numerically, as far as positive one and negative one's relationship to zero, what was I trying to say? I forgot. But I forgot. I'm sorry. You know, I got off on a tangent trying to explain some aspect of what I was trying to explain, which caused me to forget what I was trying to explain. You know. RAM capacity is too low. You know, in my head, I can't process that much. I can't hold enough RAM, you know, memory RAM for my processor to be able to comprehend it. I overloaded the RAM, I think, and you know, the hard drive that I pulled and I pulled that information from my subconscious or from the hard drive, you know, which are my memories, you know, my subconscious. That's how I like to think of the human brain. It helps me a little bit, you know. But there's also the user, which is the experience of all. Maybe I'm just running through ideas and see how things connect, and